adversity, bring it. The struggle, we welcome it. Snooze on life, never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on.
Welcome back to episode 8, Epi 8 of the No Snooze Podcast.
Epi 8. Yeah, the high five has become
Another one.
A thing. Another one in the books, baby. So now that we're 8 in, well, this is 8 now. What has been your favorite episode thus far?
I was thinking about this on the drive over, and I went back and forth, but I think it's episode 1 because it took us a while to get that out.
Yes.
And then we got out of the Fire Festival realm, so to speak. So I think episode 1, maybe not as far as the content, but as a milestone, it was the start. So.
Yeah, because we almost broke up. Yeah. The three of us almost separated before it even came out.
We should have had a Making the Band documentary, and it would have been like when you walk to get the cheesecake. That happened before episode 1.
It was like 11:30 at night. We had finished recording Epi 1 for the 4th time, and we were still trying to figure everything out. But that was the moment that we kind of came together and were like, look, we got to figure something else out because what we're doing right now is not working. Then we came back. So I think Epi 1 is definitely a good one.
You agree too?
Not my favorite in terms of like the content. I think Epi 4 was my favorite thus far. So that was 10-page Dave and Mediocrities and 10-page Dave.
You would like that one.
Yeah, Mediocrities. I think it was lighthearted. I think there was some good content in there. The feedback was great, but it was a fun episode. I was laughing when I listened back, which sometimes doesn't happen.
Isn't that weird though? Like when you listen to yourself and then you laugh at your own joke, it's like the highest level of being self-centered.
Yes,
so
I don't. And you know me, I don't like attention.
No attention.
No attention. But I don't know if it's just you, but I get a kick out of everything that you're doing.
Oh, thanks.
I really do. Like your jokes, I laugh at.
Yeah.
So it's not just me laughing in the moment. Even when I listen back, I actually laugh at it.
So to keep the bromance going, I think we've been together for long enough where I get your humor and it hits in a different way.
Yes.
So
you definitely do.
Valentine's Day is around the corner, so you might get a little heart with some chocolate. We'll see.
I like that.
Maybe a Z with chocolate.
Speaking of Valentine's Day.
Oh, Jesus.
And talking about the pod bod, can you update us? You were down 16 big ones. You went away. You look nice and tight still. You got a nice little tan going on here. So what's going on with the pod bod?
So this suit is a gray suit for people watching on YouTube.
Fire suit,
and
by
it's
the way.
one of my tighter suits. So I kind of put it on and was like, oh, let's see if this thing
Squeezing
still
buttons?
fits. It fits. But it's a little tighter. I was away from Saturday morning until late Tuesday night. And I ate like an absolute animal the whole time.
As you should.
So I'm afraid to weigh in. I would ballpark it. I'm probably only down 10 now. I probably gained 6 pounds in the trip. But I'll do my official weigh-in tomorrow.
Yep.
And then I'll report back next week.
Good. And this again plays into the whole, the setback piece and you coming back stronger. And that's fine. You fall off for a little bit. It's how are you going to get back on track? Because this is a very easy time that you can kind of give up. It's busy right now.
Yes.
Right? Very busy season. You can come up with different excuses to not go to the gym, to not put the junk in your trunk, like you say.
Yep.
And Mike had a nice little hashtag. It's a new trending hashtag. Junk in the trunk is what, Mike?
Well, I haven't been to the gym in a week, give or take. I went straight to the office at 5:30 every day.
Got something to say about that too, but
yeah, I know you guys aren't happy about that, but priorities, I got to close deals.
Yes.
But the junk in the trunk has been a good thing where I've been ordering all my food on Amazon in big, large quantities. And when I'm on the run, I am the snack man. My clients love it. Shout out Dritan. He had a shout 2
out
or 3.
last
he's,
too.
He's still the highest.
You guys still searching.
Yeah, I fed a photographer yesterday.
Nice.
So everyone, if you're full and happy, you're easy to work with. So
and the actual trunk is Mike is taking these healthy snacks and he's putting it in the trunk of his car.
Yeah.
And he has it accessible. So we're not talking about your actual trunk in terms of your butt.
True. Yeah. Right. I didn't even.
You got to explain these things, man.
I didn't decipher that. I just assume people follow the Instagram account.
Yeah. Everybody already knows, right? Yeah. So for me, Podbot is, I would say it's on track. I have a little toe injury that I'm dealing with. It's put me out of Sam sauce for a while now, but I actually got an injection in my foot the other day. So there could be a potential playoff run for me.
Did you get your release form from the team?
No.
It was sent out. So
No, I didn't
we're
receive
gonna
it
need
yet.
that back.
I definitely did not receive it yet.
What is your goal for the pod bod?
So the pod bod thing, I am becoming obsessed with pull-ups.
Okay.
Because it's something that has been so challenging for me like my entire life. Even in like gym class growing up, pull-ups was not my thing. You know, the presidential award?
Yeah.
When it came to pull-ups, the run was great. The sit and reach, I was never good at that either. But there's a couple things I'm not good at. But the pull-ups were tough. So now
But you were light at that time.
Yeah,
so they were
but
still tough.
I don't know why. Maybe the ramen noodle arms weren't able to pull myself up. I don't really know what it was. But now I'm actually obsessed with pull-ups. Not that I do so many of them, but I adopted this new thing to where I'm going for like endurance training. So I will stay in the gym for 60 minutes straight and do 5 sets of 3 and 5 pull-ups every minute on the minute for an hour straight. So at the end of that hour, you've just done, 190 to 250 pull-ups. I like seeing that progress. And it's an easy thing to progress on as you continue to do it, because you go from not being able to, really pull yourself up over that bar to now, I'm doing that hour thing, and it's becoming easier and easier.
Have you tried doing pull-ups on other things than a pull-up bar? Like, have you seen stuff and been like, I wonder if I can do a pull-up there?
Yeah, well, I walk around and I actually look for things to pull on.
Faith Focus Finish, it's my cousin.
Yep.
He had his whole thing where he just does pull-ups on stuff.
That's cool.
So he'll be like at a football field, and he'll just jump onto a field goal post and do pull-ups.
That's cool.
It's pretty mesmerizing.
Yep.
So maybe we'll
and the
incorporate
pull-up,
that.
it actually looks really good. When you do a good pull-up, when you do
your pull-ups don't look great. I'm gonna tell you.
Listen, I'm still working. But when you actually do a good pull-up, man, it feels really good.
It feels good.
Solid.
It's that bow. I've done maybe a couple in my day, but
Yeah, I could tell.
I'm more, what is it called when it's all the same, all good size? I'm more symmetrical.
Claudio explained it right. I think he called you a potato the other day.
A potato? I ate a massive potato.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're like a potato. It's just kind of,
just there.
Pretty straight. So.
All right. On that note, we are progressing in the pod bods, and
Yes.
I look forward to coming in next week lean.
Yes.
So
all right, good.
Stay tuned.
We'll keep you guys updated there. And this has been a hit thus far. We've seen a couple people took the recommendations. And, we spoke about a couple books last time in terms of reference. So we've seen people go out and actually get that. And I think that's awesome. So we'll keep that going on the No Snooze recommendation piece.
Yep.
My recommendation is going to be to step outside. For those of you who already do this, sorry, I don't have a recommendation. Step outside your comfort zone and take a cycling class.
Okay.
Cycling is something that not only, can get into your mind and into your emotions there, but again, you get to a limit, and then you're able to push that limit, and then it becomes easier and easier. I hated cycling. I really hated it. I had that foot injury. That's why I started it. But now I'm slowly becoming obsessed with it. And, we've already spoke about Karina and them. They love the Soul Cycle classes. But if you haven't taken a cycling class, step outside your comfort zone and take one. My only advice would be to pace yourself. Don't try to keep up with the instructor. And really, that's a good lesson in life in general. Go at your own pace, sit in the back, and, just pace yourself along. When you get tired, slow down. Don't worry about what anybody else is thinking of you.
See, I don't like the autonomy of cycling classes because they're like, make it a little harder, and it's very vague,
Yeah, so you have to find what I've noticed. You have to find the right instructor in the right class that challenges you every single time. So now I'm stepping into the choreography piece.
Oh yeah,
I'm
how
hitting
the
my
because you
ones
were
and twos.
brutal.
I
was terrible as well, but
I'm actually going back to Soul Cycle on Saturday, so I'll let you know how that goes. But I'm excited because I feel like I'm catching the beat, But just in terms of going out and doing something that you haven't done before, if you haven't taken a cycling class, go give it a shot.
I like
what do you
that
got
one.
for us?
I thought you were gonna be like, here's my advice: grow a nice beard. And I actually had a good one going, but we'll talk about that later. So my recommendation is kind of along the realtor lines, but it could go and apply for anyone. Is I went to Home Depot. I have a bunch of new listings coming on, and I always have to make copies of keys so that I'd have backup copy for the key boxes, and then an original. And I was talking to this guy from South Carolina. He was running a machine for key copies. And it's pretty amazing. They use your key to make the copy, and while they're copying your key, it also makes a digital version that gets sent to an app. So if you ever lose all your keys for whatever reason, you text them the key copy number, and they could just print it on demand.
That's genius.
It's amazing. I wish we thought of it.
Yeah.
But the big thing being that I've locked myself out of my house a couple times, and then the locksmith's like $200. So,
Right.
And I tried to break into my own house unsuccessfully. So, we do a good
security
job.
System?
It's like the White House.
Well,
We do a good job.
You got the pup in there.
And we got
PD's
PD,
fierce.
attack dog.
Yeah.
He was. I don't think we had him when I locked myself out that time. It was a while ago. It's a long time. Or he was away. That's what he was with his sister. But it's called Key Hero, and if you go to Home Depot,
Key Hero,
it's a spot. I forget the guy's name, but if he has a little twang in his accent, tell him Mike sent you.
I like that. So your episode came out, right? Transitioning to the episode is something we wanted to speak about last time. I saw on LinkedIn had a tremendous amount of views. Mike.
Pretty wild. People
10,000 views or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny and I can't wait till your episode comes out and I'm the realtor on the show.
Yes.
But it's funny because the questions are super random. Like one person was like, "Oh my God, like you only looked at 3 houses and you bought a house?" And I'm like, "Well, it's for the show." And then another person was like, "Oh, I love the house you chose. Did you actually buy that one?" And you have to like explain. We actually bought the house prior to all the renovations. So when we went in, if you rewatch it, and Dana's like, "Oh, I love their taste," and I laugh, it's because it's all Dana's taste.
Right. Gotcha.
So, but it's weird to watch yourself on that.
I was just going to say, tell us about that. And then knowing
It's weird.
Dana and how she is, she was probably on another level like, oh, I'm not comfortable with this. So what was that like when you guys watched it for the first time?
So I remember she texted me and said, it's out. Are you going to come home so we can watch it? So I actually had a couple appointments that I had to push back a little bit because she was like, I can't watch it without you. I'm going to freak out. So we got home. It's a 13-minute episode, and we started watching, and she just was like very critical of herself, which everyone is. Mm-hmm. But it was funny because she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so awkward. I'm so this. I'm so that." I was more impressed with her performance than mine. I'm pretty comfortable in front of the
You're always
limelight.
solid, right?
I'm all right. I was exhausted. I had a lot of caffeine in me. The background was just found out my brother had his baby, so we were driving to Boston right after. We found out Dana was pregnant prior to the show, and we told Dana's side and my parents as well that she was pregnant like 2 days before. So we were just like, it was the least of our worries. Mm-hmm. So it was fun though. But wait till you watch. It's very bizarre when you watch yourself.
I think the views. I think the views are extreme because I left it on loop all night for you. So I wanted to get your views up. No, but it was an awesome episode. Check it out on the Design Network.
Yeah, thank you for the team.
Yes, it's all free. Yep. So you just put in your email and it basically gives you access to the channel. So go check that out.
And we're still pushing for a spinoff. So if Design Network, you're watching this, right. We're raising daughters, or we're coming up with some good names for our show.
There you go. So I need to discuss this, Michael.
Oh God!
And it's the Super Bowl discussion.
Oh no!
All right. So long story short, we were in a couple Super Bowl pools, and we did well. We won the first quarter, but now it's the fourth quarter, and things are looking really, really good for us. So I know the three of us, we had our joint pools. I'm sure we all had our separate ones, but there was a nice little pot that was there, and it was for the three of us. And we're all obviously watching the game, and we know our numbers. So Mr. Pirelli decides to shoot a text message with 2 minutes left in the game, and we are locked in.
I think it was less.
I think it was less, but we knew that we had the score. We had.
Did you guys know that though?
Yes, we had San Francisco where they were, and we had the Chiefs where they were. Yeah. Right? We had it. So Mike decides to send a text, and he's like, 1 more minute, and we got X amount of dollars, boys. I look at my wife, and I'm like, we just lost. And she goes, why? What happened? Because she's now excited.
Yeah.
I said, he's mush. He is mush. He's a jinx. And to give you a movie reference,
the fact that you know
here
that
you
made
go.
me happy.
I love the movie A Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
So it reminded me immediately of Mush, who is in that movie. And anytime he places a bet on anything, it turns to Mush. And that's his name. So your name is now Mush. It reminded me of when he was betting on the horse Kryptonite in A Bronx Tale.
Kryptonite.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I don't know why I texted you guys that, because even in the real estate world, I'm super, super superstitious with doing any type of calculation before a deal closes, because the deal's not done until it's done. So I have no idea.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I texted.
I mean, never again, please.
My edge was off. I was in Florida. I had my Hawaiian shirt on. I was drinking a bevy.
Oh my God, it was terrible, terrible. But we hit the first quarter though. So
we hit the first quarter. Yeah. I also wanted to give us a little more adversity to talk about, so I was creating good content.
There you go.
You're welcome.
Good, thanks, Mike.
Yep.
All right, so Epi 8 is now going to focus on the lessons that we want to teach our daughter. Our daughters. And I want to be clear about this because Claudio and Mike and I were having conversations before, and this is now a big piece of our lives. So we're not detracting from the No Snooze mission.
I love how your head moves when you say it.
You got to go on YouTube. The No Snooze mission. But what we feel is important is being transparent about the stuff that's going on in our lives to ultimately then be able to discuss how we're navigating through those experiences.
Yes.
So if you're not having children right now, this episode might not be for you. But we believe that the experiences that we're going through can ultimately help you and give you a different perspective on either when you get there or just see another side of things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then all the no snooze mentality is to help prepare for when the big life-changing event happens too.
Yes.
Waking up at 5 is probably going to be the same thing, but we might be waking up to some
1,
dirty diapers.
3, 5.
Yeah, so we're kind of in boot camp.
Right. And we're figuring it out. This whole journey is just us, trying to navigate through the experience, talk about it, document it, and that's really it.
And I think talking about it is going to help us not go insane and not lose our minds during the whole process. So thank you, everyone who invisibly is our soundboard and people get to vent to. So appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So let's get right into, I guess, the lessons. And I guess the best way to do this is kind of just go back and forth on stuff. But let's remove the whole, I really want my daughter to be family oriented and all that stuff, right? Because that's obvious.
My biggest one.
I know, but it's obvious though.
It's not always obvious, though.
I want to take it a little bit deeper.
Well, how do you instill family values?
By living that. Okay, so you can discuss that.
But like,
on that. I'm under the assumption that as parents, as mothers, as fathers, that should be an automatic core for people, right? And knowing where you come from, knowing your background, is pretty obvious to me that is something that you value. So the first one that I think is the most important would be to figure out how to instill positive self-esteem and confidence.
That's a good one.
Right? Because not only, being a child, if you can be a young person in today's society and not worry about, what people think about you and not worrying about, your body, not worrying about, where you're going to be, and you could just kind of be okay with, your core and be confident in everything that you do, I think that goes a long way. And the way that I plan on doing that is having these discussions very, early on and then living through that. So showing, little things here and there and speaking it, every night before she goes to sleep, talking to her, having a conversation, so that becomes the norm. Does that make sense?
No, it's good. I think it's very good. I think you made a good point of what really hit me was that now we are role models immediately. They see everything, kids. And up until this point, I really wasn't the role model for anyone because I was the youngest brother. So, I had no one looking up to me, which was great. I kind of did my own thing and flew under the radar.
Frank, he's a little shorter.
Well,
so
he always, physically would look up to me.
He always looked up.
But it's one of my favorite jokes. Gets me every time. But yeah, I looked up to him. He set a very good example.
Yep.
But I think he had to consciously think about that, where I didn't really have to think about that. Now, the whole time I do things, and even when I look at my dog, I'm like, oh, well, that's someone that you're molding. It's a life. It's something, hopefully someone that'll live past you. So it's this big daunting task that I'm excited for, but really haven't done much in the form of mentorship. Mm-hmm. I haven't really mentored really anyone. So it's going to be, the confidence level is a big one that was on the top of my list. The family, like you mentioned, and confidence. Or did I say confidence already? The biggest thing for me, I think, is to let our daughters know that A, we love them, obviously, and then B, that it's okay to make mistakes and you just have to learn from it, and to communicate with us when you're having a tough time, or communicate to help us. We'll help you figure things out, which I don't know what. I don't know, but
I'm sure.
Kind of broad.
I think there's a lot of that we got to figure out.
No idea.
But you said something that maybe now I am thinking maybe I do have a leg up on you because of my work.
Yeah.
Right. As a profession, that whole word of mentor that you just said, I have been fortunate enough to establish really good relationships with a lot of youth out there, and I see the effect that I have on them, and I'm learning different ways to instill that confidence, whether you're male or female, but especially the females. We see it all the time. You 15, 16-year-old girls, even 13, 14-year-old girls, them not walking around and being confident is a much different look than an unconfident male.
Yeah. But I also think it's a harder era because of social media.
Yes.
Where there's no escape anymore. It's everything's very
that's
visible.
a great point. And in terms of the social media stuff, I think it's only going to continue to evolve. Before you know it, there might be just cameras in everybody's house, and they might just be live streaming everything.
I hope not.
You know what I mean? But I don't think 50 years ago society would have been able to see where we are today.
Yeah.
So the social media piece is a whole separate conversation. But after the whole confidence thing, and again, this is no particular order, but something that my parents instilled in me very early. If you listen to previous episodes, you kind of know my backstory, but is a work ethic. And this is something that you can only instill by one, proving it again. So even if we happen to hit it, make it really big or whatever the case may be, that has nothing to do with establishing a work ethic. So my goal is for my daughter to understand not only where her parents came from and where her grandparents came from, her aunts and uncles, where they came from, but to see the value in working for something much bigger than just in that immediate moment. Because once you establish that work ethic and you ultimately become driven, nobody or anything can really take that away from you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, and that's something that I'll echo, because my parents also had very good work ethic. So then it was just instilled in me, and I was guilty of being a little lazy younger because I really wasn't put to the test yet. And then later in life, kind of excelled at working very hard. But that's a good one. That's, I think, where you can lead by example. The kids see it, they see you get up, not complain, go to work, put deals together. I think I want to teach, and I go back and forth on this, but I definitely want to teach my daughter some element of real estate and finance and give her the basic stepping stones. My parents were good about teaching me finances, but I want to take it kind of a step further, because I think if you could start them really young and be conscious of that stuff, time's your biggest asset, and you could really set yourself up with help of a parent, which my parents did, but also to do, so that when they get to an age and they need to make a life decision about working for, doing something they're passionate about and enjoy doing, and maybe their life's work, versus having to go out and get just a job to get by, they can make that decision at that time, where maybe they choose something that doesn't make as much in the short term, but ultimately they'll be happier in the long term. You like that?
I love it. It's perfect. But so again, both of our parents, they were able to show us through the physicality of actually working.
Yeah, the action.
I got something for you. I want to pick your brain on this.
Uh-oh.
So you know how
I would say,
it's always,
That's just a reaction.
What's coming next? So entrepreneurial skills these days is something that, whether you're working in the corporate world, you're in real estate, you're private, public sector, whatever it is something that can be utilized everywhere, right? So what if we did something, and I'm just really talking through this live, we haven't discussed this. What if, instead of paying your daughter to do chores, like I'm sure we would both do, you teach her how to do her own laundry and take care of herself and help out around the household, all that stuff.
Which I feel kind of guilty of because I didn't really do. My parents had me do stuff, but they were very helpful
In that aspect.
Yeah, like I definitely
Yeah.
didn't pull my weight when I was younger, and now looking back, I'm like, wow, I was a little jerk.
But no,
I was
that's
good to
fine.
other people,
right?
so.
And you gain the experience elsewhere. But so
Yeah.
that's the physicality part of the actual work.
Yeah.
But what if every time they read a book, we paid them
That's good.
to literally show, like, look, this is the type of work that you need to be doing, and if we instill confidence by providing our, young daughters with actual positive material to read from an early age, and then actually pay them to do that, and that knowledge then starts to seep in super young, I think that will make a massive difference
That's a good
in the
one.
lives that they're going to pursue later on.
Yeah, that's good. Are you going to pay them every 10 pages?
I was going to say, I don't know. I might have to teach the 10-page thing. I'm looking forward to this, by the way, because then I can read with somebody.
Yeah.
But hopefully it won't take me any longer to read my 10 pages.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's good. I think also like a lot of things we did was we tried to sell things. We did
Lemonade stands, all that,
kind
yeah.
of the basic stuff, but just showing the value. Like I remember making decent money like when I was young for stuff, but didn't know what to do with it. And I always wanted to do something with it. And I got like a CD at one point, which was so slow. I wasn't patient. So I was like, oh, this is so pointless, like banks. And then I was like, all right, let me try to day trade. And I tried that when I was young. But I didn't really have a long-term landscape or vision to be able to make the right decisions early because I just didn't know what I didn't know, So I don't know. I think to the point of the book thing, I think Monopoly is a great game to just play with kids and then teach them about assets. And obviously you can take it a step further, but I like disguising fun with learning.
Yep.
Hopefully by that time I'll have a couple properties I can bring my daughter to and say, oh, look, this is what we do. This is how we prep it. And if they don't want to do real estate when they get older, that's fine, but at least they have the basic knowledge to be able to.
Again, the skills translate everywhere.
Yeah.
Once you establish that work ethic, that mindset, that translates to
you can
anything
do anything
in life.
Yeah.
Speaking of what you just said, you just mentioned something about like disguising fun. I
Yeah.
saw something on Instagram. I forget who it was. If I remembered, I would definitely shout them out. But they took Fruit Loops and they were playing with their daughter or son and basically made a fun dynamic game out of it. So you know how Fruit Loops are different colors? So the parent took a big circle and made it like red, and then they would put the Fruit Loops from the actual cereal box into the colors. And it was I'm talking like the kid maybe wasn't even one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was something like that where you're disguising like, oh, wow, I actually eat Fruit Loops, but now I'm playing a game. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So little things like
That's
that.
good.
What's your take on teaching like chores around the household?
Here's my thing. I feel guilty because I didn't really do many chores. I wasn't great at chores. And then if I then request chores and then make them do something I didn't do, I'd be like, well, I didn't really do. But I feel like it's valuable. So
Yeah, but I don't think I was doing, an absurd amount of chores around the house. But I will tell you this, that I do chores now because, again, it translates much bigger than just my house.
Yeah.
But my daughter will definitely learn how to thoroughly clean things. And not just because she's a female, because I actually love to clean.
Yeah.
As a male. But, doing things the right way. And I think this is going to lead right into your one of your mantras.
Yeah.
But, whether you're cleaning the toilet or you're cleaning your office, it still needs to be done thoroughly, and you should take your time and do it the right way. And being able to discuss these types of things and explaining that stuff, I don't think that's the norm with parenting these days.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own little niche and everybody's phenomenal parents. I get that. But I want to create something a little bit different for my children, to where you're talking about these things to explain the much bigger picture.
Yeah.
And it might be, it sound like it's another language to them. But if you keep doing that through repetition as a parent, I think that's going to make the ultimate difference later on.
Yeah, I think if you can somehow set up a chore that has a reward on the back end, and it's not just like a ice cream cone, or like you have to clean your bike or put your air in your tires so that you can actually ride the bike. do something where you're seeing the result pretty quickly.
Yes, that's actually
something like
a very
that.
good point.
I don't know. I am worried because with my dog, I've been trying to train him, and I haven't been very successful yet. Some aspects, yes. He sits when he wants his breakfast, basic stuff.
Right.
But, that makes me, just seeing my dog makes me worried about executing on all these lessons because very easily you can get wrapped up in your day-to-day.
Of course.
And let that stuff slide. So I'm curious. Obviously, all this stuff is well and good that we're saying, but it's like, how do we go execute the stuff that's important, like we're saying?
Yeah, no, so how we do that is we live in that moment.
Yeah.
And we
put them on the podcast.
Because we're too busy in our lives, we can't really look too far down the line.
Yeah.
And we have to focus on that day, and if we commit to doing something with our daughters at that time, we have to commit to that. And you always essentially make time for the things that matter, and I don't really think that's going to be a problem for us.
Yeah.
We're going to have to figure everything else out as we go. But, making time, I don't think that's going to be the big problem.
Yeah. And I think having one last thing, too, I think having a partner through it is, knowing that Dana will be there to help.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
No, not you. You as well. But
I'm just kidding.
Just having those conversations to figure out together how to approach things, because I definitely think I'm going to be a little more of a pushover. Not that Dana's tough, but...
I'm in a full agreement with you there.
But kind of having a strategy together to outsmart, hopefully, like a 3-year-old. Hopefully we can figure it out, but it's it's less daunting.
It's going to be the biggest challenge of our lives. I don't think we can even put it into perspective until we're actually living it.
It's nuts.
But it's pretty cool that we have the opportunity to discuss this stuff.
How crazy is pregnancy in general? Like, how crazy is that they're growing a baby inside? It blows my mind every time.
And we're both just about halfway there now.
Yeah,
right?
It's wild.
Approximately 20, 21 weeks, whatever. So the body is just, it's an amazing thing. Do you feel, I have a question on you here.
Nuts.
Do you feel any, you might think I'm crazy, right? I believe that I feel pregnancy symptoms.
In in your body?
In my body. There are
Do you feel kicking in your stomach?
No, not kicking.
That's just your poor diet.
not kicking in my stomach, but I believe like
nesting?
I have random breakouts now. I get these jitters in my stomach.
Well, that's stress.
I have
probably
this anxiety that is heightened. I feel bloated from time to time. Do you have anything, or is this just...
Well, so I always joke with Dana, and I say, like, I heard the term nesting, and I connected it. I thought it was funny.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh, she's nesting when she does stuff, and she gets upset.
You said that last time, too.
Yeah.
But so now that you said that last time, I actually started thinking about that, and then I've been thinking the same thing.
It's fun, like when an idea gets in your head, and then you start recognizing it. But I find myself doing all the nesting, too. Like, I know for work, everything links back to, oh, my God, there's a baby on the way.
Yep.
July 1st, whatever it is. I got to get going. So it's weird. It's different. Everything's different.
Yep.
Like as soon as I found out, even more so now that she's starting to show a little.
Yep.
It's like, whoa.
They're bumping.
I don't know. I still don't know how I'm going to get through like the delivery. I thought it was going to be
about,
old school.
We're
I was
worried
going to
about
have a
how we're
cigar.
going to get through, right?
Like have a cigar in the waiting room with like, we're worried and they have to actually deliver. But I'm like cigar, whiskey, me and Dave will be in the same hospital.
So that's also, we should add that
Live
to the
cast.
dynamic piece. So we're actually going to deliver in the same hospital.
I'm delivering their baby, Dave's delivering our baby.
Right. There you go. So jumping, that was a good piece. Hut, hut. Mike, you, all right.
Red 7.
I said hut, hut. Good stuff. All right, so getting back into that, I have another thing that as I was like thinking about these topics, it's something that I would have wanted to know earlier than I do now.
Yeah.
And it's understanding what you can control and what you cannot control.
That's a good one. That's a very good one. That's stoicism, I believe.
Stoicism.
Yeah.
Very nice, Mike. So if you
I think. I don't know.
But if you have this, and you're able to create, this mindset for our daughters to where they understand the controllable, and it could be something very basic versus the uncontrollable things, everything else in life and school just becomes so much easier. So it's accepting the uncontrollable factors, not being anxious and stressed about things that we can't control, because I know every day this is something that I'm reminded of, because when I do get stressed and I get anxious, I'm 90% of the time thinking about things that is not going to change regardless. Mm-hmm. So then you have to circle back and think about, okay, well, what's the little thing that I can do? What's the action that I can take to then relieve the stress and anxiety?
Yeah. Yeah, the thought of putting things back into perspective. Like anytime I get stressed out now, I'm like, I have a daughter on the way. Like that is way bigger than anything I'm dealing with today.
Yep.
You know, so it kind of keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know, teaching this to like it took so long for me to figure out these things and be more calm and let things happen and just control what you can, because part of me thinks you can't learn yourself unless you experience some things.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how much someone tells you something, until you go through it, it really doesn't stick.
Right.
People told me things and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then once it happens to you, like, that's what they were saying.
So the only thing I will echo on that is, what if you were told that same exact thing on a consistent basis, and every single time that same topic came up, it was highlighted and discussed? I think that is the difference, because as we grew up, of course, our parents or family members always teaching us lessons along the way. But if you establish a core in your household, and during dinner, it's these types of conversations that you're having, and obviously that the norm of how was your day and all that stuff. But if I believe that if I dial in and my wife dials in to instilling this stuff into our daughter, it becomes on us to then be consistent with it.
Yeah.
And that plays right into the no snooze mindset in general.
Yeah. Well, there's I know we talk about the Brauns occasionally, and
Yes.
Scooter, and so Adam Braun, I read his book. It's called The Promise of a Pencil.
Mm-hmm.
He does a nonprofit. I read a while ago, so I could be butchering some parts. But basically the message is, and I don't know if you talked about it also, but Mr. Braun would say, we're different, we're Brauns.
Yep.
And I like that. So I tried to do that with Dana. Like, I'm like, Dana, we're Pirellis, we're different. Like, it sounds pompous, obviously, but it's kind of cool because you're kind of brainwashing to not accept just, what everyone else is doing, because everyone's different. Just because 3 people don't want to do, work extra hard or don't aspire to be certain things doesn't mean you can't do it. And by setting that groundwork early, I think it could be beneficial.
Yep. Scooter actually, so it's a great point, but Scooter, he recently went on Tony Gonzalez's podcast, great podcast, and he was talking about, his upbringing and how he came up. But it was exactly that, and every single night before they went to sleep, it was Brauns are different. Yeah. Brauns are different. Yeah. And Scooter says, we started to believe the nonsense.
Yeah, yeah.
We believed the BS that was being instilled in our head. And then they realized that it wasn't BS. Mm-hmm. But something so simple like just hearing it every day that, you are different. You are destined for greatness. Mm-hmm. And look at where they're at now. But this is something that Irvin Braun, his dad, did with us, even as players and athletes.
Pretty cool.
He would pull us in a locker room, and the same stuff that Scooter spoke about, he was instilling that in our heads. We only had him for 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it was. So imagine the impact that he had on his sons and his family.
Well, Jimmy Valvano, there's a documentary about him. He was a basketball coach, and one of my favorite, another great documentary, Survive in Advance. It's a 30 for 30. Yep. But basically, he kept his goals in his suit pocket every day, and he wrote the same thing: win a national championship. And his wife would wash him and he'd rewrite him, put him back in. And the other thing he did was he prepared his team for success, and he would go through the whole process of cutting down the nets before they even were into the tournament.
So when they did it, it became
it kind of was like
feeling.
This brainwashing.
Yep.
So maybe we'll be cutting down the nets with our daughters if they're ball.
And I don't want I don't mean for this to come off like crazy and like obviously we're gonna mess up along the way. That's always gonna happen. But all we can do right now at this point is try to put our best foot forward. Try to figure this out. So I don't want when my daughter is out acting crazy at someone's house, like, oh yeah, no snooze, you really got this one under control.
Yeah, so I used to give my brother and sister-in-law, listen, Frank, we mention you a lot, give them a hard time about Lola, their dog. She's the cutest dog of all time, but she's nuts. So I used to say, oh, great parenting, like joking around before we had a dog.
With this one.
Then we got a dog, and my dog is nuts. So like every time I look at him, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said something. So one of the things I'm definitely not going to do is critique other people's parenting.
Right, yes.
Because it comes back tenfold.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so I apologize for that comment. And I know, and Petey bit Frank in the face. Like,
oh, yeah, that was not good.
Sorry,
that was
Frank.
at the gender reveal.
Petey loves you. Sorry about that.
So now that you mentioned, Frank and family, we're talking about that whole dynamic, that brings me to another point of teaching the lesson of how to love hard and love unconditionally. And this is something that I believe I have really just started to figure out. Loving unconditionally is removing the conditions from the relationship. So once you put your time and energy into anybody, whether that's a boyfriend, whether it's a girlfriend, your mom, your dad, brother, sister, any relationship that you want to put love into, and you decide that that's a relationship you want to pursue, I am going to do my best to teach how to love unconditionally. That, people are going to make bad decisions all the time. And people are going to impact your life in a negative way. And if you truly love that person, you need to remove that bad, action that they took. You need to remove the bad condition that they placed on the relationship and still love that person and give them another opportunity. And I believe in second chances, in everything in life. The episode 5 with James McLeod was all about, getting another chance, and he got another chance. And look at what he's doing with his life. And you can apply that, again, that's a bigger picture, but apply that same mindset to your work relationships, to your marriage, to your boyfriend of 6 months. If you decide to love that person, doesn't mean you have to be with them forever, but be all in your relationships.
Yeah. See, the whole relationship thing too, that's a whole nother thing.
Wait till you hit these questies.
I was joking around with people are asking, you have names picked out, this and that, and I was joking around. I was like, yeah, it's, hopefully she's blonde and we could put her in a tower, name her Rapunzel. I don't really mean that, but it's just a habit of I'm on it. I'm being very honest with her. I'm very overwhelmed by the whole process of having a daughter. I'm super excited. I see a lot of great fathers, and you know who you are because I reach out to you and say, like, I was nervous to have a daughter, but I'm so excited now because I see how great you guys are with them. But it's unknown territory.
Yeah, of course.
In a big way.
I want to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
Tap into that relationship piece, not as a boyfriend girlfriend, but the importance that you see now where you're at 29 years old.
That's right.
To where if you did have this mentality early on, what do you think that could have done, and the importance of loving unconditionally?
I think I was always not very emotional with stuff. I just was always big picture as far as like relationships. I was always good with a tight group of friends, and like would do anything for them. I think they would say that.
Yep.
And with like family, we're a family that says love a lot, almost too much. No offense, but other people have been like you guys say love a lot. I'm like, well, it's just kind of a habit, which is a good habit.
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, I think early on it was pretty instilled in us, and not till later in life did I find Dana. But it's a skill, like you're saying. It's a skill to be not expecting anything, but just do it out of kindness, and which is a big thing that I know we talked about prior. Is I think if our kids, sorry, Dana. If our kids are respectable and kind, you really can't lose. I think that's the biggest thing in life. If you're one of the proudest things that my brother and I have been able to accomplish with obviously the raising of our parents is that they get super proud when they get compliments about us. And it's a weird thing because it's like you're getting compliments and we don't like attention type thing. But it does make you feel very good that your parents are super proud of you and how you present yourself to other people. Not to mention, me and Frank used to beat each other up and behind closed doors, break noses, had the cops called on us. Dave was there. But when we were out with other people, we were very respectful. Part of it was we were afraid that our family was going to find out we were going to get in trouble.
Yep.
But it's all these big concepts are like floating around your head, but it all comes back to like trying to be kind and respectful. I think.
No, 100%.
I think you agree with that.
No, 100%. And I can only echo that. Your family, I've been around the family for many years now, and that's what your premise is, as a family, is based off of that stuff. So everything else comes much easier when that is the foundation.
And the happiness piece that we talk about and the positivity, I think, comes from that. Because if you're just being kind and respectful to people, they're going to reciprocate, and then you'll have a better view. Obviously, people screw you over in your life, and there's deals that won't go through or situations that don't work out. But on the majority, if most people you're dealing with, if you're kind and respectful, even if they're in a terrible mood, at some point they'll break and you'll get some reciprocity, and then it snowballs.
Yep.
I think. I don't know.
No. Reciprocity.
Sounds very foo-foo.
No. But reciprocity is a big thing, and it's a word that's not really used a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you read a lot of, look, 10 pages a day, I'm seeing that word. I'm seeing that word over and over again. But it's doing things exactly like you're saying without the expectation of receiving it. Yeah. And if you actually look at all of the relationships in our lives, a lot of it is based off of that selfish piece. And this is me to a T. It hasn't been until recently to where I've started to identify those. And when you get to receive that mindset early on, you're so much better off for the long term.
Yeah. It's going to be I don't know if you got to organize I don't know if you have to organize how you approach this stuff with your kids, or you just react when they have a life circumstance, and then you're able to insert. Like, do you have a list of like, these are the things I want to instill, and then here's my opportunity. All right, let me put that piece in. Yeah. I think it's kind of a controlled chaos.
Yes.
I have no idea.
No, we have no idea. All we can do is
the best. Two guys without kids talking about how to parent. This is gonna be a good episode.
But see, I don't think it's that, Mike. I think
talking
it's
about how we want to parent.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it's still hilarious. It's in concept. People are gonna be like, "Wait, what?"
It's in a perfect world. Yeah. The important lessons that you want to teach. And you have the ability to do it or not do it.
This is a good action piece. We have a lot of people out there that joke around with us and they're like, all right, we'll see how you snooze when you have kids.
Exactly.
Comment on this, if video, Anchor, wherever you can in our page. What do you think that we're being blindsided by in the first couple months? Like, are we way offline here? Are we not even close? Like, is it just survive in advance with kids?
Yeah, well,
just get to the next day?
I think it's, we can't even...
How'd you work in the delivery room? Like, I am freaking out.
No, but
I'm going to be like the guy in
We're jumping over that. We're jumping over that right now.
But I think that way.
Yeah.
Yep. So
yeah, hopefully we could get through the delivery process and not just pass out.
The wheels were coming off.
Right.
Sometimes when you think too much about it,
you're freaking out right now. I can tell. Yeah, you're freaking out.
All these ideas.
Yeah. No, that's really good stuff, man. So there were a couple questions that came in, and again, there were some that were more political based than others. So if you don't hear your question, sorry, but we couldn't.
If you don't hear them, Dave chose them, so send him the hate
mail.
We
couldn't get to them all, but there's certain ones that with our jobs, it just doesn't seem like something that we feel comfortable talking about. To be transparent,
and to be transparent, I don't think you'd want my opinion on all that stuff because I don't know enough about a lot of the stuff. Just because I don't choose to educate. So that which is defensive, but I don't choose to educate. So then when someone asks me, I don't have to lie and say, oh, I don't think, I'm just like, I don't know enough.
Yep. No. So everything we're trying to do is through our experiences versus teaching.
Yeah.
We're not teachers. My wife's a teacher though. She can teach a lot.
That's pretty.
So what's one piece of advice from the male perspective that you would tell your daughter when she's in a relationship?
Jesus Christ.
Oof.
Who asked this one?
You always do that, and until I get clearance,
I want to know if it's someone who knows me.
No, I can tell you that.
Okay,
I can tell you that. No, but it was from the male perspectives. Actually, the plural. So I guess
depends what age, right? Like, are you dating when you're, is it puppy love? Is it? That's another thing. Like, how do I know if they're serious or not?
I'll change it. So it's the first relationship.
First
relationship. Whether it, whatever partner she chooses, what is the advice that you would give to her?
Based on my past, I would tell her to not be too critical on the early selfishness of a gentleman or significant other, because when you are in your first real relationship, you figure out how to compromise, and you're going to make a lot of early mistakes of not going to events or not prioritizing certain things, because up until that point your schedules are your own, and then when you have someone you love and you want to be involved in their life, you'll naturally sacrifices in the word compromise to make yourself more involved with theirs and mesh it together, and if you're not, then you'll just kind of separate. So that's my thought.
That's good.
Is that good?
That is.
I think that's a safe answer too.
Well said. Yeah, I see you thinking about your words. No, but that's a smart piece there. And I think my advice.
I'm so excited to hear this. I don't know why I'm excited because you're very philosophical.
Philosophical Reg.
I wish your name was Philly. We call you Philly Philosophical.
So again, I'm thinking in terms of when that first relationship happens, how can I give a piece of advice that would relate to life in general? And I think the piece would be, do not try to change people. And you can do a lot as a woman to support the change of somebody you're in a relationship with, but that can only happen if that person wants to change. And apply that to any relationship that you're in, if it's your work relationship or it's a significant other. But if you and your significant other can't figure it out and you want something so badly for that person to either do or act a certain way, don't waste your time trying to change that person. You can tell them how you feel, but ultimately that change needs to come from the person themselves, and then you can do your best to support the change. Deep stuff.
That's
but
good.
That makes like that then takes it bigger than just 13-year-old little relationship. Yeah. But if I teach that early, then it becomes much bigger.
You lived up to the hype with that answer. The other thing that you made me think of was that there's this whole theory that daughters marry people that are similar to their father.
Oh my God, Mike!
There's a whole.
You're
theory.
going into another question.
Am I jumping into it?
Into another question.
I'll wait because I had a nugget of gold. But
go ahead. You want to do it or you want to?
No, I was just gonna say by acting with your current significant other, Dana, love you, and showing her how a relationship. Not saying we have a perfect relationship, but how you should be or should aspire to be, how a man or woman, whoever it is, should treat you. It helps.
100%.
So I'm going to try to step up my game, Dane. It's for, our daughter.
For the greater good.
Also for you, 2 birds, 1 stone. It's for you too, but
there's the tactical thing in you.
Yeah,
but you're doing
you
both.
start thinking about that stuff, which
of course.
Obviously I'm conscious about it, but you don't really worry about the repercussions
until you see a little girl watching. Yeah, exactly.
And you fly off the handle. Yep. You're like, that's not good, you know. So even now, I feel more guilty. The baby's not even here, but maybe she hears me in the womb,
Yeah,
talking loudly.
I started singing actually. I have
God.
Yeah, no, it's tough. My voice is tough, but I have a little jingle. Won't share it yet because her name is in it, so we'll wait on that. But I got to share that with you. So.
Do I have to make a jingle?
To that piece, though, would you allow your daughter to date someone like you when you were single? I would say absolutely.
I definitely won't let my daughter date someone like you. I'm just kidding. That's funny.
You're horrendous, not tremendous.
Like me when I was saying, I guess you'd have to ask people.
No. Be selfish. Go ahead. This question was for you.
I think on the whole, I was a good person when I was single. Obviously, like I say multiple times, I was very selfish because I just didn't. I knew I wasn't committing, and I knew I was priority, which is very selfish. But if she is dating someone like that, she'll learn quickly. Like I said, either they compromise or they move on.
Yeah. So I'm trying to be inclusive of all my flaws here in terms of that response, just like you are.
Yeah.
But I would still say absolutely, because I think that my values and, my family, I guess my family history in terms of what was instilled in me early from my entire family, I think that core is what represents Dave Regina. I know you like when I refer to myself in third person.
Love the third person drop.
But even though I made a ton of mistakes along the way, and I'm sure I'll continue to make mistakes, I would be fine with my daughter dating myself when I was, single at any point.
Yeah.
And not because I was the best, because I was not.
Yeah.
And I'm still not.
Yeah.
But I think that, I'm still a good person.
It's a good question.
To what you were saying about just being a good person in general.
Yeah.
And having respect. And there was times that, of course, I've been disrespectful in relationships. But going through that whole experience in life is something that we really can't sit down and explain to our daughters.
Yeah.
They have to figure that piece out. But I would still be okay with it. I would be actually ecstatic, though, if she brought somebody home like you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Likewise. But I have these visuals.
Yeah, it's tough. It's
and I
tough.
like
You gotta
answering
remove
the
it.
door, and I have my gun and my Bible, but no,
Yeah,
I'm just
just
kidding. And
just on
I
the
have
table.
a beard and some tats.
Right.
And,
Well, that's all I'm doing. I'm
preparing. Yeah.
Oh, and that's it though. But I'm sitting in a wife beater. I have a lot of tattoos. I'm going to continue to grow this beard. So as soon as any, significant other walks in at any age,
Yeah.
nice firm handshake, look in the eyes.
Yeah, like what if the dude's like 6'8", and I'm like, oh, I guess I gotta knock this kid out.
Yeah, but that's why you got to do it early, so they already know. Like growing up, who the serious dads were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we got to work on that.
Yeah, I definitely have to work on that.
We got to toughen up.
That's a great question. These
this is good, right? All right, this one is a little political here, but I don't mind jumping in on this one too. What is your take on vaccinating your child? Good one. So I don't mind jumping in because I actually just watched this documentary. Again, Documentary Dave. I forget.
Bro science. Here we go.
It was something about the flu, though. I forget what I forget the title.
Great start.
I was really intrigued by this documentary. Something about the flu. No, but it's a series. But I watched the episode that was on the flu vaccine because whether you have your religious views, I know a lot of that plays into it, and they actually highlighted that on the documentary. Personally, for me, through discussion with doctors in the field, because we're going through that now. We're having these conversations, when we're at our appointments. I am confident for myself that we will choose to vaccinate children that we have because it makes them less vulnerable, in my opinion, to, getting whatever diseases are out there. Like these strands are not always current in terms of like the flu vaccine and the vaccines that they're getting. But I think now it's important, because I see it in my line of work, that kids are vaccinated because they actually are starting to change the laws that they can't participate in certain activities without these vaccinations. And I don't believe that I'm going to go the route of homeschooling. So with that said, I would absolutely choose to vaccinate, my children. Got to talk to the wife, obviously.
Yeah, that was going to be my answer. I was like, I'm going to talk to Dana and we'll see what we decide. I feel like Bill Belichick, like on to the next week.
Yeah. So you're choosing to
I don't know enough yet to make a decision. I'm just trying to get through the delivery, excuse me. I haven't really thought about that much. It's funny what you think about, and then like the things you actually should be thinking about, you don't really think about.
Yeah, no, I got you. So last one here.
Uh-oh.
And I want you to answer it now because you deferred the last one.
I did. I pled the fifth.
What is your greatest fear in having a daughter?
My greatest fear in having a daughter is that she doesn't feel like I was around enough or communicated enough with her that she feels comfortable with our relationship and it results in some bad event, some type of spiraling out. Obviously, you do all you can, and you can't control certain things, but something directly affected with my lack of action or action.
Wow.
Politically correct.
No, but it was a beautiful answer, and it happens to be.
It's vague.
No,
but it's
no. It happens to be my answer too.
Nice.
Seriously. I'm
ditto.
Yeah, ditto. And I'm dead serious. I think the biggest fear there is, when they are grown, them not feeling that I did everything I could to at least prepare them for, what life has to throw at you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a joint effort between Karina and I.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
But my greatest fear is, personally not being enough.
Yeah.
So that plays right into your piece.
Yeah, and you hear about these relationships where like father daughter don't talk. Like awful.
No, that I know.
Yeah.
It is tough. All right, so that kind of ends us on a serious note. So we got to bring it back to life with Dave's Dime of the Week.
Dimes.
My man. I am not what I have done. I am what I have overcome. Forget what hurt you, but never forget what it taught you. Don't be afraid of change. It is leading you to a new beginning.
It's a good one. Who said that? Do we know?
It's not a clue.
I don't know who said mine either, but that's good. I might have said
and
that.
And it plays, I think Mike Pirelli. But it plays right into, starting a new new chapter in our lives in terms of fatherhood. And I think you can apply it to any struggle that you're going through, that there's always something else on the other side.
That's good.
Hit me, kid.
I'm going to be doing Miguel's mantras.
Mantras. Miguel's?
Miguel. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. A little short and sweet.
I like it.
Just like my daughter.
Short and sweet, like my daughter. That's good, kid. So let's really end it on a light note, because this has been popping lately, and I hear you have some heat on the feet.
The suit is very tight, but I just want to give a shout out before I do this to Billy Gallagher, newest subscriber.
Nice.
Hung out with him in Florida, and he walks an hour a night. I think it's an hour a night or 3 miles a night.
Wow.
And he listens to the pod, so special shout out.
Okay,
hopefully
Billy.
you're listening to the end, else you missed it.
And don't tell him about it.
No, I won't.
Good.
People will probably though.
Show us what
so
you
my
got.
heat on the feet today. Ooh, my socks are a little frayed. This is that's your stuff.
Oh, here you go.
So we got
Mush.
This is a movie that have you seen The Godfather?
I have seen The Godfather.
Could have been a contender.
Throw him in a bed.
So these are some of my favorites.
Show it to the middle camera.
I'm wearing, like I said before, my tight suit, so this is tough.
Those are nice, kid. I like those.
Can you see them?
Yeah, but it plays right into the whole Italian theme of, the movie factor and you being mush.
Yeah.
Right? So if you haven't checked out A Bronx Tale or The Godfather.
It's not a great brand for a real estate
out.
agent to be called Mush.
That's good stuff, man.
Mush real estate.
So, guys, what's been big for us lately, too, last piece, is, just take the time to, if you do listen to the podcast and you appreciate the content that we're putting out, and you happen to stumble across Apple iTunes or, Apple Podcasts, go ahead and rate that, because the more devices that receive that rating, the quicker then we can get the word out. So that's very helpful to us, and it's just, if you feel that this is some valuable stuff and you're listening to it and you're having a good time and enjoying the journey with us, we definitely appreciate that.
Definitely. Other ask is if you manage or know of co-working space, we are currently on the prowl for a couple recording locations.
Yes.
Just for efficiency, effectiveness, and convenience.
There you go.
So reach out to us, DM, and keep commenting. I crack up at all these comments. The serious ones, the light ones, but serious ones.
Yeah, they're good. Keep them coming.
Listen, I love the podcast, but the guy with the beard is very annoying.
That's good stuff. Until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
My man. If you ain't the books.
Oh my God, I got so nervous. That's another Effie in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze.